Hey folks, I'm the newstarcadefan here. In the last episode of SC2VN, we were about to get ready to see Accel throw down here in the team matches. An array of multicolor overhead lights announced the first match. Polished motion graphics and meticulously collected player statistics whiz around display in front of the studio. The VSL studio really has hype building down to a science. What do you think Crash is going to send out first, Jett? Not Accel, unless they want him to snipe right off the bat. I know the common strategy in Team League is to have a mid-tier player spend all of its practice time preparing specifically for one heavy hitter. There are other things to take into account too, like the map or the remaining opponents, but there's no doubt that Team K has one of their players ready to take down Accel. By the time I glance back up the stage, the first two players are headed to the booths. Accel remains on the bench outside on the same screen as the crowd. It is starting. Sure enough, once the players have their settings prepared and the coaches give a go-ahead, the match begins. Spawning at the 7 o'clock position for Team Crash is the Blue Protoss player Zhang Li. His opponent from Team Kane at the 2 o'clock position is Xing. Protoss vs. Protoss, close positions. This match won't last long. Mirror matchups are so stupid, PvP most of all. You don't know the intricacies. It can sometimes be really intense. Well, yes, that one know about that. Literally, every strategy is a coin flip. PvP should be considered gambling and made illegal. Damn. PvP usually ends with both players on one base. The decision to expand is often too great of risk, especially with the players as close as they are. More so than any other matchup, mind games are essential to securing an advantage. Reach too far with aggression against the balanced strategy, you lose. Go middle road against a tech build, you lose. Tech up against an attack, you lose. So basically, it's too much risk for so little reward. Yeah, and Jangel and Xing both have opted for a 4 warp gate strategy. What did that? Yeesh, I didn't see that one coming. Prepare to watch these two clash. It'll all come down to their control. Or that can happen too. Even with Jett's grumbling, Stunt looks like he's enjoying himself. After all, this is the type of game he loves. Reaver's paying attention, though likely only to note the intricacies of Crash and Kane. Both of the Protoss players complete the buildings necessary for their attacks simultaneously, but it's Team Crash players who's out on the map first. A proxy pylon near the Kane player's base will allow for quick frontline reinforcements. Things would be going perfect for Crash if not for one small problem. The attack was spotted. Rather than answer with his own attack, the Kane player is holding his units back at home, and he's hiding half of them in a small corner of his base. I realize what's happening just as the Crash player makes his move. Without the proper intel on his opponent, he feints motion at his opponent's ramp in the hopes of learning what he's up against. Yikes. But the Kane player doesn't even budge. No force field, no panic frontal boost, nothing. No defense at all. Yeah, this is when you know something is up. After a moment's hesitation, the Crash player charges up the ramp, fully confident that he's caught his opponent in a moment of weakness. Nope. For a moment, it looks like it was the right move. He heads forward to disable the Kane infrastructure and has his exit cut off. The Kane player reveals his hidden units and surges into the Crash force. Even though the battle begins with an even unit count, The force field preventing the Crash players' retreat also keeps the reinforcements from joining this main army. That sucks. Despite some excellent unit control, the dwindling Crash army is devoured by the ambush. Django taps out a GG, and the first game goes to Kane. An exception, though trapped by Shing, the key was the position of his 3 extra gateways. He allowed the Crash player to catch sight of a single gateway, which led him to believe that there was a hidden tech in the back of its base. Excellent tactical thinking. Indeed, it would have been too risky to find out with certainty what was coming next. He had to act. He should have cleared the path to his opponent's base before showing his units. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That could not have been more stupid. This is what happens in a matchup where scouting past the 3-minute mark is impossible. Kane is fortunate that Django hesitated. Had he disabled the forward gateway in time, Crash would have been victorious. I had my attention back at the Crash bench to see who they're sending up next. Accel turns back and whispers to one of his teammates as he starts heading for the booth. Finally, from some ZVP. Better hope that Shing's all-ins aren't as pitiful as yours, stunt. Ouch, that's a burn. 2 minutes later, the Crash Zerg stands across the map with the King player. The match opens off slowly, but a sudden greedy opening from the Kane protest elicits a call for attention from the commentators. Yeah, how bold! This map does not lend itself to a next first, yet he has planted one down without pause. And it seems that it'll be going unpunished with one victory already. It seems that Kane's side now would be an appropriate time to take a risk. Unfortunately, taking a risk like this would backfire and possibly bad. This spells bad news for Crash with the Protoss economy established so quickly. Zerg will struggle to survive his powerful mid-game attack. The commentator's warning shows itself to be a well-informed one. The Crash player realizes his disadvantaged position too late from inside the booth. He looks very shaken. Shing marches across the map at the 8-minute mark with an absurd number of Blink Stalkers, not bothering to clear the watchtowers on the way over. His unscouted forward pylon allows them to power forward unchecked. The Crash Zerg clumsy defense is painful to watch. The game was decided by the 2-minute mark, even if it took the Protoss another 7 to play out. That was embarrassing. Not my preferred all-in style, but I'll admit it has its merits. A sudden realization that the 3 out of the 4 of us are on camera puts our conversation on pause. The VSLFs show foreigners and girls in the breaks between games on stream for whatever reason. Reva shields her face and glances away while I wave and watch myself on screen with an undeniably awkward expression. Yeah, I like the kiss cams at baseball games. You never know when they're coming. And when cameraman makes the mistake of panning past us to focus solely on Jett. Death. Not a second later, the scene switched back to the cat. Yeah. What kind of idiot doesn't a drone scout? He went pool first. It was an easy, slow rally for the win. The land lends itself to a typical Zerg playstyle. He mistakenly believes that if he can defend early rush from Protoss, he got an advantage going into the mid-game. Actually contains the extra large I'll take the cash, Jett. Quiet. O2 isn't impossible to come back from. But Jett's confidence falters a minute into the third game. The Kane Protoss immediately sends a probe cross map and 10 on the deciding game with an early rush. Scout your natural scout around your natural moron. It takes 2 seconds. I need to learn how to talk. And as if somehow he heard the order through his boost soundproof phone, the crashers catch sight of the proxy gateways as they are finishing constructing. A moment later, the game would have been decided. How would Zerg react? He responds by throwing down a static defense in his main. A good option since a pair of stationary space spine crawlers are too strong to contest a few zealots. The hatchery finishes despite the Protoss' efforts to force a cancel. Looks like Crash is going to stabilize here, or would if not for... No, what are you doing? Stop! Jett takes two fistfuls of her own hair when a Zerg uproots a spine crawler and moving it down the... Oh no. Yeah, for those of you who play StarCraft, you know that any one little mistake means game, set, and match. This here is one of those mistakes. The Protoss reaction is instant. The Kane player rushes in to take a fight with the remaining static defense. Even with a handful of Zerglings and the Queen aiding, the Spine Crawler falls only with a single casualty up for the Protoss. An unmistakable blunder. He aimed to defend his natural expansion with the second Spine Crawler, but failed to wait until he had enough Zerglings. Exactly. Such impatience is going to cost Crash the game, and perhaps the series. With the free pickoff, not long until the Kane player snowballs his lead into a victory. One of his teammates charges into the booth and claps his back a dozen times, both of them smiling through some banter. It's a stark difference from the Crash bench. All save Accel look ready to accept defeat. With a calm look back at his coach and nod, he rises to replace his fallen teammate. It seems like Crash will send the Accel as their final player. Will he be able to prevent an all-kill from Sheen? We must take into account King's morale. The momentum in the series certainly favors a fourth and final victory. Accel, do not lose. A few of the people seen in front of Jett winced at the volume of her jeer, turned around, stared, and realized that they were about to shush a VSL champion. By the time she's finished signing a phone case from one of them, Accel's in the booth ready to go. Thinking of bring it back, Reva? No single player on King can match Accel. I find myself in agreement with that, but Reva's specific wording and lack of conclusion leaves me wondering. What could be the final match of the day begins now. Accel against Shing. Who will emerge victorious? Accel looks at home in the booth. He shows the four of us a smile and a thumbs up just before the game loads in. And here's where I'm going to end it. If you like what you're seeing, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because it does help the channel out a lot. Anyway, I'm the newstarcadefan here saying thanks for watching, have a good day or night wherever you are, and bye for now.